welcome to Live Interactive English. I'm Kim.
And I'm Brandon.
And what are we going to be talking about today?
Our story comes from Greece.
Oh, I have a lot of that in my oven.
Not that kind of Greece.
Oh, what Greece?
I'm talking about the place. I'm talking about the country in Europe.
Oh, Greece is in the Mediterranean Ocean, which is close to Europe, right?
Exactly, yes.
Oh.
This is an old, ancient city and country that has a lot of old, ancient stories.
Yes, a lot of these stories are called myths, and they're usually about kings and heroes and monsters.
And gods.
Yes, and we're going to be hearing about one of them today, which is a very well-known one, in fact.
Oh, yes, it's a very exciting story. Can't wait to tell you.
Okay, this is the story of Daedalus and Icarus, part 1.
Daedalus lived on the island of Crete with his son Icarus. Daedalus was a brilliant artist, inventor, and architect. For this reason, Daedalus was chosen by Crete's ruler, King Minos, to build a structure that could contain the Minotaur, a monster with a bull's head and a man's body. Daedalus built a labyrinth that would prevent anyone from escaping.
All right, Kim, have you read a lot of Greek mythology before?
I've read some. I think everyone knows the story of Hercules.
Oh, yeah. Hercules.
Yeah, one of the most powerful gods who was Zeus's son. Zeus is the most powerful god in Greek mythology.
And Hercules is a half-god.
Yes.
He's one of my favorites to read about.
And he gets into a lot of different crazy adventures, so those are fun to read about.
Well, this is a different crazy adventure. So let's talk about this one.
All right.
Daedalus lived on the island of Crete with his son Icarus. Daedalus was a brilliant artist, inventor, and architect.
Not bad for someone in ancient Greece. He's doing a lot of different stuff.
Yes, you had to wear a lot of hats, as they say, do a lot of different jobs back then, so you could get a lot of work.
Yeah, okay, so he was an inventor. An inventor is just a person who has invented something. If you create something new that no one has seen before, no one has made before, and you give it out to people to use, you are an inventor. For example, Nikola Tesla was one of the greatest inventors in modern history. Today, we have Tesla cars that are named after him.
Oh, do you have a Tesla car?
I don't. I wish I did.
I really, really want a Tesla car. And he created a lot of electrical inventions back then, and that's why he was so important, and that's why they named the cars after him.
Yeah, some people think that he is actually the creator of electricity and not the person we think of, which is Edison.
Ah, really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's very interesting. What do you think is the best invention these days?
I think the greatest invention of these days has got to be the smartphone.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
the
of
smartphone
course.
can do
Everyone
anything.
uses one, everyone has one. They have changed our lives. In my opinion, smartphones are probably the best and most important invention of these days.
You're probably right. All right. Well, back to the story. For this reason, Daedalus was chosen by Crete's ruler, King Minos, to build a structure that could contain the Minotaur, a monster with a bull's head and a man's body.
That sounds really scary.
It's very creepy, actually.
That is really creepy. How did they make this thing?
Probably some sort of magic. Hey, if you're a good inventor, you can make anything.
Well, isn't it the truth though? Okay. So Daedalus built a labyrinth that would prevent anyone from escaping. A labyrinth is like a maze, like a puzzle you need to solve. You enter and it's very difficult to get out.
Yeah, and a lot of scientists use mazes for their mice to find the cheese. It's kind of like that, but a labyrinth is much larger, usually for people. But what about a monster?
Ooh, monster.
A monster. We talked about monster earlier. A monster, that's a big imaginary creature, usually bad.
And hopefully it's imaginary. I hope they are not real.
Yeah, monster. I can use that in a sentence. Abby wrote a story about a giant monster that lived in the sea.
Ooh.
What other kind of monsters do you know about?
Well, I know when you are a little kid, sometimes you are scared of monsters. They live under your bed, they live in your closet, and when you go to sleep at night, you're kind of scared.
I was always scared of the dark. I thought there was a ghost in my closet. I thought there was a ghost in my room. I heard a pencil rolling off of a desk once. I was very certain there was a ghost in my room. I ran out the door.
Was it just the wind?
There was no wind in my room. I still don't know what it was. I really think it was a ghost.
Well, there's lots of different kinds of monsters, including ghosts. There's vampires that are scary and they turn into bats. Some people draw their own monsters and create their own big monsters. But some monsters are kind of cute, like Monsters Incorporated is a very cute Disney movie about monsters.
Yes, I love that movie. In that movie, they had the monsters initially being scary, but spoiler alert, in the end, they were actually very funny and they made a lot of jokes to make the kids laugh.
It kind of makes you not scared of them in the end. But I'm still a little scared of the Minotaur. I think that's kind of very ugly and creepy.
With a bull's head and a man's body, and there's a lot of things like that. There's a centaur. It's a man's body and a horse's body. Both bodies put together.
The top half is a man and the bottom half is a horse.
Yeah.
And these also come from mythology. Mythology has a lot of these kind of creepy creatures in them.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah, and all of these stories that come out of Greece, they're generally mythological.
All right, well, when we come back from our break, we'll find out exactly what is this Minotaur up to in this labyrinth. We'll see you then.
Hello， 大家好，我是 Hanny， 又到我们读古希腊神话故事的时间喽。那这边要先补充一下神话的英文 myth M-Y-T-H myth 它可以指迷思，可是也可以用来指神话。我们在后面加上 O-L-O-G-Y 变成 mythology， 它就是指神话的总称。如果把这个 mythology 的 Y 去掉，再加 I-C-A-L 会变成 mythological， 那就是形容神话的。好，那我们这次要读的叫做 Daedalus and Icarus。那么 Daedalus 是一位杰出的艺术家、发明家和建筑师。那他跟儿子 Icarus 住在克里特岛上。这个岛的统治者是麦诺斯国王，这个国王就请 Daedalus 帮他建造一个大型的建筑来牵制 Minotaur 这个怪物。于是呢 Daedalus 他就打造一座能够防止任何人逃脱的迷宫。我们来看两个单字 Inventor 它表示发明家、创造者。那么刚刚说 Daedalus 是艺术家、发明家又是建筑师，这时候 Brandon 老师用到 wear a lot of hats 来描述，不是说他戴很多帽子哦。英文里面有一个片语叫做 wear many hats， 意思是身兼数职，扮演许多角色的意思。这是因为早期西方人他们用帽子来代表不同职业，于是就出现这个说法了。下一个单字 monster 表示怪物、怪兽。那么怪物呢，通常会让人感到毛骨悚然。不过如果是像怪兽电力公司那个电影里面那种怪物就不一样了。老师们说，一开始那些怪兽好像很可怕，可是演到后来变很搞笑。补充一下 creepy 这个字 C-R-E-E-P-Y creepy 是形容令人毛骨悚然的。还有一个副词 initially， 它可以表达起初、开始。这个字是拼作 I-N-I-T-I-A-L-L-Y initially。那么 Brandon 老师刚刚还用到 spoiler alert。好，其实大家可能应该都看过那部电影了，所以你也不用怕剧透，对不对？那我们还是要补充一下 ，spoiler S-P-O-I-L-E-R 后面搭配 alert 可以表达有雷渗入。这边的 spoiler 就是表达剧透、爆雷的意思。我们再来看补充单字 labyrinth 表示迷宫。那老师们说的这个 maze M-A-Z-E maze 也有迷宫的意思。好，那么再说到这个文中啊，有用到这个 Minotaur， 它是一个牛头人身的那种怪物。那这时候老师没有提到 Centaur， C-E-N-T-A-U-R， Centaur 则是古希腊神话里面一种半人半马的怪物。好，接着回到课文中。
The Minotaur lived at the center of the labyrinth, and only human flesh could satisfy its appetite. 7 boys and 7 girls were sent each year from Athens to Crete as a sacrifice. One year, the prince of Athens, Theseus, swore to kill the Minotaur. he joined the group that was headed for Crete. Once there, he was helped by King Minos's daughter. She had fallen in love with Theseus and gave him a sword and a ball of thread on Daedalus's advice. Inside the labyrinth, Theseus tied the thread to a door. He found his way to the Minotaur and killed it with his sword. Then he followed the thread back to the entrance and made his escape.
All right, welcome back, and we are talking about a very famous Greek myth involving Daedalus and the king and the Minotaur and a labyrinth.
Now, the Minotaur's in the middle of the labyrinth.
He's in the middle. What is he doing all day?
Well, if I was the Minotaur in the middle of a labyrinth, if I had nothing to do, I guess I'd paint, I'd draw, I'd do something artistic and creative.
Really?
Yeah.
I think maybe he has a PlayStation.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Maybe, yeah?
Yeah, well, actually back then,
probably not.
Not so much.
Only painting and drawing. Well, let's find out what he's up to. It says, the Minotaur lived at the center of the labyrinth, and only human flesh could satisfy its appetite. Yikes.
Only human flesh. That sounds creepy and bad.
I guess he's hunting. That's what he's doing all day.
Yeah, but if you're a bull-headed monster, you know, maybe that's what you want.
Human flesh,
Ooh, well, 7 boys and 7 girls were sent each year from Athens to Crete as a sacrifice.
That does not sound good. Those poor kids.
Yeah, that's 14 children every year. I don't think every city would like to do that.
No, I thought doing homework was bad, but that sounds worse.
Much worse.
All right, so this Minotaur, he really likes to eat human flesh. Now, what is flesh? It's the soft meat of an animal, so anything from the legs or the back or any part of this soft meat of this animal that you're going to eat, that is the flesh. For example, the hunter cooked the animal's flesh over the fire. He's just turning it like this. Is that what the Minotaur is doing?
I hope so. So does that include the bone?
No, it does not include the bone. It's only the skin and the muscle of the animal.
Because the bone is hard.
Yes.
They don't eat that. All right. Well, one year, the Prince of Athens, Theseus, swore to kill the Minotaur. He joined the group that was headed for Crete.
Uh-oh, the Minotaur is in trouble.
Oh, yeah, Theseus, this guy, he's a genius. He's going to take care of this, right?
Let's see what he does. Once there, he was helped by King Minos's daughter. She had fallen in love with Theseus and gave him a sword and a ball of thread on Daedalus's advice.
Whoa. A sword and a ball of thread?
How is that ball of thread going to help him?
What are you going to do with a ball of thread with a Minotaur?
He's going to throw it like a Pokemon and just catch it.
Oh, maybe he puts it around the legs of the Minotaur. Minotaur falls down.
Does he have time for that?
I don't know. Yeah.
Just stand still.
I don't think the Minotaur is going to wait.
No.
Well, so he swore, and that comes from swear. When you swear something, it's kind of like a promise that you make. For example, the soldier swore to protect his country with his life.
Yeah, so he makes a very strong promise that he will protect his country. And these days, though, you don't see too many people swearing to protect their country with their life. Usually we use it to say you're telling the truth. You really, really want someone to think you're telling the truth. So your mom says, "Who ate that last cookie?" "I swear it wasn't me."
I swear I'm telling the truth. Those are the kinds of things we would say.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, inside the labyrinth, Theseus tied the thread to a door. He found his way to the Minotaur and killed it with his sword.
Oh, to the door.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really smart. That way we can find his way back.
Yeah, that's quick thinking on his part.
Well, unless the thread breaks.
Ooh.
And then that's pretty bad.
That's pretty bad.
Well, then he followed the thread back to the entrance and made his escape.
That sounds like a good plan.
That's a really good plan. It must have been a really good sword.
And a really strong thread.
Yeah, really strong thread, really strong sword. And I mean, how do you beat a Minotaur? He must have been a pretty good hero.
Yeah, he must have been. I mean, that guy is huge, I imagine.
Yeah.
And you gotta fight him with your sword. He must have been a very good hero.
Oh, he must have also had some sort of fire with light to follow it back to the entrance, right?
Yeah, was he going through this labyrinth during the day or at night?
Or is there any light inside anyways?
Good question.
Is there like a roof?
Could be.
I don't know.
Well, he made his way back to the entrance. The entrance is the part of a building where you enter it. So any door, any walkway where you go inside somewhere, that is the entrance. For example, I waited for my friend by the front entrance of the park. Oh. I'm at the front, come find me.
Yeah, or at the MRT, at the metro station, they have a lot of different entrances at some of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes it easy so you can go out lots of different ways. But I guess you go out or in at the metro. That's kind of an exit and an entrance.
Yes, it can be both. Now, I think this story is really interesting. It has all the components of a Greek story. There's the hero, Theseus. He goes into the labyrinth and he defeats the Minotaur, and he does it in a very clever way.
Yeah, all of these kinds of stories, they have some sort of clever way of defeating the bad guy or defeating the monster or something like that. And this one, he used the thread to go back. That was really smart. But it was also his girlfriend who kind of gave him the clue. Maybe she's the real brains.
Well, it was Daedalus's idea, actually. He gave her the thread. So actually, well, because he built it.
Oh, that's true. So if you build something, you probably know how to get out.
Yes, and his idea to use the thread was really smart. You can just follow it out, and there you go.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, I can understand why the girl would fall in love with a hero if he can defeat a Minotaur like that. I mean, any girl would fall for that,
That's
right?
pretty impressive, yes.
But I mean, kind of creepy. Like, if he kills the Minotaur, he's probably got all the Minotaur blood, he's got the head. Ugh.
He's walking out with it here.
The girl would probably say, please take a bath, and then I'll kiss you.
I think so. That would be a good ending. Well, that's it for us today, and next time we will find out even more about this myth. There's more to tell, so let's see what happens in part 2.
I'm
so
excited.
Thanks for joining us.
I'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Minotaur 这只牛头人身的怪物啊，就住在迷宫的中心。那么只有人肉可以满足它的胃口，所以每年要从雅典送7个男孩和7个女孩过去当祭品。那么有一年，雅典的王子 Theseus 他发誓要杀掉那一头 Minotaur。当他一抵达那边，就得到麦诺斯国王的女儿相助。这位公主呢，就爱上了 Theseus， 并且按照 Daedalus 的建议，给他一把剑，还有一团线。哈，那一团线要做什么呢？原来啊是要绑在迷宫的门上。那么在 Theseus 找到迷宫的中心，用剑杀死 Minotaur 之后，他就可以沿着这个线回到入口，成功逃脱了。我们来看3个单字 ：flesh。flesh 它可以指肉，人或是动物的肉，也可以指果肉，那它是不可数名词哦。那么 swear 是指发誓，它的动词3态是 swear、swore、swore。再来 entrance 它表示入口。刚刚 Kim 老师说，哇，这个故事呢是关于英雄用聪明的方法来打败怪物，它具有希腊神话故事的各种要素。这时候老师用到 component，component，它就可以表达成分、构成要素。好，那这个段落有3个文法重点，我们就进入文法时间。大家好，我是文法界的女神，谁？对，就是我 Fanny。我们来看今天文法重点，第一个是 fall in love with somebody or something， 就是爱上某人，爱上某事物。像我们可以说 they fell in love with each other at first sight， 他们一见钟情，第一眼就爱上彼此。你们看我放电。好，第2个重点是 give， 它的3态是 give、gave、given， 它当受语动词呢，要接人跟物2个受词，这个语义才完整哦。所以我们要表达把某物给某人，这个用法是 give somebody something， 你也可以说 give something to somebody。像你可以说 My friend gave me a pair of earrings， 也可以说 My friend gave a pair of earrings to me， 我朋友呢给我一副耳环。第3个重点是名词 advice， 是忠告建议 on somebody's advice 或是 on the advice of somebody， 就可以表达说要听从某人的建议，在某人的建议之下。举例来说 Bob quit smoking on the advice of his doctor， Bob 听从医生的建议戒烟了，好棒哦，帮你拍拍手。好，那以上是今天的讲解，同学们别走开喽，拜拜。
Daedalus lived on the island of Crete with his son Icarus. Daedalus was a brilliant artist, inventor, and architect. For this reason, Daedalus was chosen by Crete's ruler, King Minos, to build a structure that could contain the Minotaur, a monster with a bull's head and a man's body. Daedalus built a labyrinth that would prevent anyone from escaping. The Minotaur lived at the center of the labyrinth, and only human flesh could satisfy its appetite. 7 boys and 7 girls were sent each year from Athens to Crete as a sacrifice. One year, the prince of Athens, Theseus, swore to kill the Minotaur. He joined the group that was headed for Crete. Once there, he was helped by King Minos' daughter. She had fallen in love with Theseus and gave him a sword and a ball of thread on Daedalus' advice. Inside the labyrinth, Theseus tied the thread to a door. He found his way to the Minotaur and killed it with his sword. Then he followed the thread back to the entrance and made his escape.
Chu Lu Ranch sits on the beautiful grasslands of Beinan Taidong. Opened in 1973, it is one of the largest ranches in Taiwan. It functions as both a dairy ranch and a tourist attraction. Its fertile fields are ideal for grazing cows. The result is some of the purest and highest quality fresh milk in the country. Visitors to the ranch can sample Chu Lu ice cream and other dairy products. They can also take part in many ranch experiences, such as feeding cows and goats and riding horses. There are cart rides, DIY activities, and a splash pad for families with kids. The ranch also features numerous nature trails. Chu Lu Ranch is a great place to visit and enjoy nature at its best.
See you next time!